Welcome back to Rubbin Minds, and of course, moving straight into our next guest, Chase Negbedion, and he is a fellow of Leap Africa. What is Leap Africa all about? Well, Chase is here. Great to have you on board, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Now, for those who do not know, I mean, I've had dealings off and on, formally and informally, with Chase Africa, and you guys are doing a fantastic job. You've been a fellow how long now?
For a year. We just completed our one-year fellowship program with LEAP. We just had the graduating set and inducted the new fellows for the year.
Fantastic. That was, I think, in Akwa Ibom?
Yes, in Akwa Ibom, yes.
So what does it take to actually be a fellow? But before then, what is Leap Africa about?
So Leap Africa is a not-for-profit connecting social innovators who are breaking barriers in the various communities, those who are living their lives for the overall of others. So they want to recognize the potentials of their social works, see how they can support them with trainings, funding, and connect them with the right network to be able to build and scale their initiatives. Okay, and what is paramount on the mind of Leap Africa this year going into the next year? So the Social Innovators Program, we just had the Social Innovators Program Award, which is recognizing people who have been breaking barriers also in that impact of seeing how they can at least outstretch themselves in creating solutions that are bringing impact. So it's not just about making more money, but making more impact in your various communities. So we recognize that impact in maybe you're breaking barriers in environmental, in health, in job creation, and in crowdfunding, where my own space is. And it's seeing the fact that we can also extend that fact with building collaboration. So we are a member also of the Global International Youth Foundation Network in over 21 countries and 5 continents. And this also gives room for people to be able to see how best they can climb that stride and break more barriers. I mean, LEAP is an acronym for Leadership, Effectiveness, Accountability, and Professionalism. Exactly. Now, when it comes to the issue of leadership, if I'm sure you were watching our previous guests, that's Gary and Achike, when it comes to the issue of leadership and accountability, you look at, for example, the delivery of the cars, 3 billion naira. Is that a good example of leadership or accountability, considering that is it absolutely necessary to have that kind of spending now? It's interfacing with themselves to see that the right leader has to also follow basic rules of doing due diligence in accounting for every resources at their disposal. So talking of that case is to seeing how much more you can at least balance both sides. And for us, seeing that effectiveness in the social space is paramount for us, that you are accountable for the kind of work you do. So be it your service, be it for your projects and programs, people need to know how much impact you've been able to make and how much lives have been affected. So how much impact has Leap Africa been able to make? Can you give us examples, people, projects? So for our fellows who have done tremendously well, we've had 2 in our sets who went for the Queen Young Leaders Award recently with the Queen. We have also had about 2 who also just completed the Mandela Washington Fellows. We've also had an Ashoka Fellow in our midst. So for 2016 Fellows, they've done tremendously well. We've also had our United States Institute of Peace Fellows who are also in the stride for peace. So we've got exceptional fellows who are doing well, and it gives us room to see why we need to at least give room for the social enterprise space. A lot has not been said about that space, and we look out for government and related corporate organizations to see the fact that they can at least help improve on the social space where we belong. Are you looking at some of your fellows going into the corridors of governance, of change, in terms of, for example, if you're called up to serve as a special advisor or commissioner, is it something that you will be embracing, or will you just stick to this framework and work from the outside? Because we need people to work also from the inside. Working from the inside is also best, because if you understand why government should be able to make an impact in their community, it's not just about at least building roads or scaling the bridges. We also need to be able to see how much more they have a thorough understanding of the fact that at least government coffers, or the money is raised by citizenry. That's why the idea of the Office of the Citizen, to see that majorly all of these people understand the fact that at least having us as representatives of government or taking effective role, like the Not Too Young Run hashtag that has been trending. We social innovators.
Not too young to run.
Not too young to
What's
run.
What's that about?
Whereby young people, which is going to be done in Geneva recently now with the UN Youth Envoy, is showing interest to see that even those who are social innovators can run for public offices at a very younger age. For the Leap Africa Social Innovators Program, it's between the ages of 18 and 35 in the 12th year, and it shows tremendously well what we've been doing in that space. And we need to at least tell more people that that impact needs to be felt, and that is why we're in space.
Now, for anyone on the face of planet Earth, there are three things that matter. Well, judging by my last speaker, which is being happy, being healthy, and providing for the family. Now, a lot of the work being done by Leap Africa is work that will take a lot out of you. You have to go beyond the call of duty to execute some of these things, which is why you're rewarding them with the fellowship in the first place. Yeah. But how constructive can any organization be or group of people be when the issue of happiness is not secured, when the issue of health is questionable, especially when they're not being able to provide for their families?
Which is very critical to some of the innovations we have in our space. We have a lady called Mama Muni, who, having lost a father and a widow mother, had to go into the community to support widows. Widows, women who are striving and seeing how much more they can be able to fend for their family. So LEAP has been able to at least see how they can inculcate those kind of trainings and support for this kind of people who feel that it is necessary for families to be fed. And doing some of these innovations that we've been able to create, we've been able to see that the impact and leverage that I've been able to build, to see that women in that space who are taking up skills in different skills have been given the kind of support that at least you can see these women who are able to set up their own businesses and see how they can go beyond in supporting their families.
Okay, so 2017 around the corner. Globally, there's a lot of change. I mean, everybody's talking about America, Donald Trump, everybody's talking about Russia, China, South Korea, and the fact that there's a lot of there's a shift in power globally. How do you think this will affect Africa, and how do you think Africans should respond to this change?
Change is, questioning the fact of the change we have in our country presently, and questioning the fact of the change we want to see in the US. Like, for in my own opinion, and everyone, in my own personal opinion, Donald Trump might end up being the best president. And for us, even in the social space, where we're also being concerned about gender equality, I'm a member of the UN Working Group for the UN Women, and we speak a lot about if he's going to be the kind of president we might be able to force or tell him more about the idea of gender equality, which are very things we're very concerned about. And we believe with our steps of faith, we can see a better president giving good policies that can at least affect most of us in the social space.
All right, Chase, we'll be back and we'll be talking from the other presidents to our president, and of course, in the role of the government with respect to what needs to be done for the people and what the people need to do for the government, right here on Rubbin Minds. Stick around. Well,